Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video, a bit of a catch-up video. We're going to be checking out what's been going on over the last week or so since the last video went up. Just been very busy, so I hadn't had a chance to get a video up. Was hoping to get one up last weekend, but didn't happen with all that was going on. So yeah, this week we have been spreading dung, we've been moving dung. We had to move it from one location to another. So I've a little bit of footage of that now. A bit of drone footage, and I'll maybe put that up first on this first part of the video and do a little voiceover on it or something like that. Then we'll do a little bit of a catch up then on just how we've been getting on. So since about Wednesday we've been ploughing and drilling and trying to get some of the winter crops in and in the ground, and conditions have been a little bit on the tricky side, but we are getting there. So we'll do an update on how we're getting on with that. And then we also had a little bit of an issue last week where we had a fire. So yeah, a little bit of footage of that, and I'll go into some of the details of that as well. So yeah, busy enough video. Try and get it all packed in there, and yeah, let's go to the drone footage of the dung spreading and moving to the dung.
Alright, so before ploughing can commence, we had some dung to move around and to spread. There is, on one of the farms, there's an area where we can tip the dung, which is great, but it just means we have to draw the dung needed on the other farm up to it. So could have done this a few weeks ago, but we didn't. We kind of waited it out until the digger was here and on site. And what's happening is he's kind of filling us here as he's filling the spreader as well, you know. So the spreader keeps moving all the time. It gets priority. We reverse in, he loads us, and then we can go. It's not that far between the two farms. It's probably about 1.5 miles. So like it's not a really long draw. So yeah, it's just a matter of getting the dung moved. There was in excess of 300 ton of dung, I think, in here. So we had to move about 140 ton, 40 ton of it had to be moved, and the rest then was spread on the land that there is here on this particular farm. The digger was a fantastic job of filling the dung. Up till now we've been using the teleporter, but teleporter's slipping and sliding all around the place, and digger was just very fast. It sits there, you know, it can do a lot, just swinging around, lifting the bucket, then back round into the spreader, and yeah, very fast, and the way to go for filling dung in the future, there's no doubt. Big Dites tractor working the spreader this year. Not sure on the horsepower. I think it could be around 300 horsepower. It's a big animal of a tractor anyway, and a good big lump of spreader as well. Spreader would take, I'd say, around 15 ton. So yeah, was getting a nice bit spread on every load, and yeah, very happy with how it was working. Done a nice even spread as well. Yeah, so getting the dung out, aiming for around 3.5 to 4 tons per acre is yeah, that's what we're aiming for. Yeah, we don't want any more than that. It can tend to go down sometimes with any more than that of this hen dung or chicken dung. So yeah, you don't want to go over the top with it. But yeah, we're very happy with the results. But last year, this particular field here, there's just over 30 acres in this field, and it averaged 4.2 tons to the acre, getting 4 tons of chicken dung to the acre, and then it's just required fertilizer afterwards. So done very, very well. So we're hoping now that by dunging all the rest of the fields, it'll help to push it on. Hedge trimming was also going on in progress. On the day, our hedge cutting man was in with his 2 hedge trimmers, and yeah, got round all the fields in a day. 2 hedge cutters, great job, and yeah, good men at the job as well at cutting the hedges. So very, very fast, which is what you want. Yeah, they fly through the work. So just pity their New Hollands. That's the only thing. But I know I'm only joking. There's nothing wrong with New Hollands. Yeah, no, they're great job, and it's an important job too to trim the hedges back, because it just stops the hedges growing out into the field. Saves then, you know, when you're ploughing and drilling or spraying or any of them things, there's less chance of tractors or sprayers or machines catching in ditches, and yeah, just good job to get it done and dusted and out of the way. So good progress made. It was great to get all this done. There had been heavy rain the day before, which isn't ideal for these jobs, but we were able to walk our way through it, and all preparation then for getting the plough in the ground the following day. We actually got ploughing. It wasn't this day, it was the following day, but yeah. So that was the dung moved and into position. So about 3.5-4 tons of the acre is what we aimed to get it spread out at on the ground. Don't put on too much of the chicken dung. So yeah, good job done on that, and nicely put out. So as I mentioned, the digger is a super job at loading it, better than the teleporter. Teleporter's a lot of slipping and sliding around with it. So yeah, digger was just a lot quicker on it. Different man this year. The usual man that put it out over the last number of years was away working at maize, so we had a different man in this year spreading it. But done an equally good job, and no issues with that. So yeah, moved on to ploughing then Wednesday, and we've been ploughing ever since. Basically, all the spud ground is what we've been working at, because once it gets wet, it always gets a little bit. It's de-stoned firstly, and it gets a bit compacted as well. So when it rains on it, it turns a bit slippy and slidey, and water can tend to lie on the top of it. So yeah, we're actually pushing to get that all in, done and dusted before it gets much later, or maybe gets much more rain. That is the downside of the potatoes in it. The plus side is I've hardly seen a stone yet, which is great, saves us having to get out and lift them. But yeah, the downside is it does tend to get a little bit on the sticky side. I'll just reverse back and into position here, and I'll kind of show you out the window what I'm talking about, especially at headlands and where you're turning. When you open it, I'm talking about it's a little bit on the sticky side, but then once it's actually ploughed, no issues. You see it this side here, nice and dry, and it's 100%, but it's just a matter of getting it ploughed up. The weather is a struggle. Like, there's no other way to put it other than the weather is a bit of a struggle this autumn. This time of the year, most years you do get a bit of a dry spell, and it allows you to get the likes of your crops in, but so far the whole of October has just been showery and just tricky. That's the words I probably use to describe it, but it's not making that much difference on the likes of this. Once you've it turned over, even if it was a little showery during the day, if you've the tractor drilling, a little bit behind you, you're going to get it covered over and all done before it makes any difference to it. So yeah, just does slow it up a little bit. Ideally, if the weather was dry, I'd be out at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning ploughing away, and Dad would come and start drilling at about maybe 11, 12 o'clock, and he'd have caught up by that evening, and it works well. But yeah, we're not just able to do it that. If there was one day we're able to do that, but yeah, it's just the way it's worked out. So I'm going to get a wee bit of footage of the tractors ploughing. I'm going to stick the drone up, see if I can get a little bit of footage. We're just doing, it's Saturday now, there's 5 acres here in this field that we're in, and I'm just over halfway. It's a nice long straight field, just over halfway in the ploughing of it, and I have a little bit of drone battery left. I don't know how much I have. I didn't get that. I should have charged them yesterday, but I'm going to put it up, see if I can get a wee bit of footage of the tractor drilling, and maybe a bit of the tractor here ploughing, and yeah, we'll come back then after that, and I'll do a little bit of just talk about how we're getting on with the new tractor and all that kind of stuff as well. So let's go to the drone footage of the ploughing and drilling.
I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon. Turn us to thousands, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Right, we're going well. We're just more or less finished this field, and it won't be too soon, because look at those clouds in the sky. It's going to be a downpour. So we've only got a little bit of a headland here to finish. 3 or 4 runs, it'll sort it out, and yeah, that'll be it done. Seed is covered really nicely. Not really any sign of any seed on the ground whatsoever, so that's a good sign. It'll keep the crows away. But yeah, you can see how it's all ploughed up, and the way it's worked together. Even though it was a bit glary on the top with the rain we've had, the seed bed is nice. It's a nice dry seed bed. So yeah, happy to get this in. This is the final field of wheat. We've been working at the wheat all week. We're sowing the wheat first, which a lot of people sow the barley first, but we're sowing the wheat first because everywhere that we had the potatoes, it's nearly wet ground. So we need to get it in first. We can't afford to leave it a couple of weeks or a week or two in case that it turns really wet and we wouldn't get the wheat in at all, and we'd be looking at a spring wheat or a spring barley then in it. So we don't want that, so we're putting it in first. When this is done, there'll be about something just over 60 acres of wheat in, so not be too bad. We're happy with that, to get that done. And 3 and a bit days, considering there was wee bits of delays with the weather and that. So happy with how we're progressing with the wheat. Barley is left. There's over 70 acres of barley to go in, and it should be easier to put them in. The fields are dry fields. You know, even there's a bit of rain, we'll be able to walk as we were walking today, plough just in front of the drill, and we'll get those sown no problem. They're nice and dry. There was no spuds in them. Yeah, so I'm not too worried about them. The dung is on them and all, and they're ready to go. So the plan is early in the week we'll get going with the barley, and we'll hopefully, if everything goes to plan, we should be well on with it all before maybe around middle to end of the week, if it all goes to plan. But yeah, other than that, no real dramas. A little bit tweaking just with the GPS on the tractor just to get it right. You know, there's a couple of things with it. The first thing is that we're using it in a 1000 economy PTO, which is great. It just means that the tractor isn't revved out very hard. We're running the drill of the power harrow at around 900 revolutions a minute. So yeah, it's working 100%. Tractor has lots of low down grunt, so it's able to plough on or drill on in the hilly spots, and yeah, it's ideally suited. Now we're gonna have to, for next year, do something on either a furrow press or something to do a little bit of cultivating on the front, because yeah, well, we have the front linkage now, and we'd like to have something to yeah, we'd like to have something just do a wee bit of cultivation on the front, and it would just leave a nicer seed bed for you know, a bit of leveling on the front and working on the back. Alright, so that was just finished in the nick of time. It's kind of cleared again, but there's going to be more showers, and yeah, happy to have the wheat in, happy to have it finished. It's something we can kind of forget about and now concentrate on the barley, getting the winter barley in. Excuse me. I think forecast wise there's to be showers this evening, possibly a couple in the morning, but then Sunday, most of Sunday is going to be dry. Monday, Tuesday's dry, possibly Wednesday mightn't be too bad as well. So if we could get a run of 2 or 3 days, we'd knock a big hole into it, and we'd be, as I say, well on, maybe around the middle or towards the end of next week. We'll see how it goes. Completely weather dependent, and yeah, we'll see what happens on that front. So the other thing that happened on the farm over the last week was that we had a fire. We had a shed of hay that somebody maliciously set on fire, and yeah, the shed burnt down, the hay is all lost. There was 150 bales in it, or it's something in around that. Yeah, somebody went and set it on fire. There's nothing there that could have sparked it off. There's no electric in the shed. There's nothing that could have caused the spark. Somebody went in and lit it. So it wasn't here in our own yard, it was in a neighbour's yard. It's a shed, an old style like round roofed hay shed, which we've been putting hay in it for more than 10 years, and never had any issues in the past until now. So yeah, it was quite disappointing now to see it on fire. We got a call on the Friday evening at about 10:30, 11:15, something like that, to say that the fire was well ablaze at that stage. And up the road we went. The first thing we were met with was the road was closed. Fire brigade had arrived at that stage, and as I pulled up, I just took a picture because you could see the barn roof, or the hay shed roof, was just glowing red. So it was. So yeah, not a nice sight. But yeah, fire brigade was set up there at that stage. They were just trying to get everything in place to start getting some water on the blaze itself. But look, there was no saving anything at that stage. It was just trying to get it out. So yeah, we hung around for a little bit just to see what was happening, and there was very little more we could do. You know, it was going to run its course. Next morning, we had to start a bit of a salvage operation of getting the hay out of the shed, and yeah, trying to get any fires that there was out. So that was a tedious job, having to move all the burning hay and getting it out. You know, we spread it out in the field behind the shed. We had I was there with the telehandler. We had a track machine there, you know, trying to get all spread out as the firemen were putting water on it and just trying to get any burning fires out. But yeah, eventually we got it out, and it's going to have to lie there now until it rots into dung, and it can be spread again at some stage. Shed itself is ruined. It's just, you know, the sheeting and everything is just fell in, and yeah, it's a bit of a disaster, because it's bad enough something like that happens when it's your hay, and if it happens in your own yard, it's bad enough, but then it happens in another man's yard. And I know it's not our fault, it's just one of them things. It's an unfortunate circumstances, but yeah, so it's with the authorities. We'll just have to see if anything comes out of it. We're going to get some cameras checked and all that kind of stuff. There's some cameras on the road, so we'll maybe find out a bit more later on. But yeah, disappointing. A loss of the hay, and then the loss of the shed as well. You know, people have little to do, so they really have little to do to begin burning any farmer's hay or produce, you know. So, but that's it. That's one of those things. Find out more, I'll report at a later date on how things goes with it, but that's all there is at this stage. Yeah, so that's it. So on a somber note, that's it. Until during the week, we'll be back drilling and so on, and we'll see how we get on. We'll be working at the barley hopefully this week if it stays dry. Until then, if you're not ready to subscribe to the channel, hit the sub button, leave a like in the video, comment down below if you have any questions or anything at all, and yeah, we'll see you during the week. Thanks for watching.